Coach, the bye week, were you able to tweak the offense at all this week without getting into your game plan or specifics? Were you able to maybe develop some things that you didn't simply have the time to do before?
No, we wanted to keep a rhythm and stay consistent with what we're doing in terms of our execution. And we gave some of our younger guys a little bit more reps to develop those guys a little bit more. But I thought we had an excellent bye week to practice, probably as good as the last, probably 10 years. I thought those guys were pretty intense, and we got a lot of good work out of it in terms of that. But we just wanted to stay relaxed and keep executing and stay in a rhythm.
What have you seen out of Sac on tape? From a defensive standpoint, Coach, what can we anticipate seeing out of them Saturday?
Well, Jody does a very good job on defense, just playing solid defense, not making a lot of mental mistakes. He gets those guys to play very disciplined on defense. They've created some turnovers in their first 4 games. So, for us, we need to be able to be consistent, take care of the ball, and work our tempo like we normally do. But Jody always does a good job on defense, and they'll give us very solid play in the back end and up front.
Do they do anything exotic? Do they blitz a lot, Coach, or is it just kind of?
No, they kind of sprinkle in some pressures, and depending on how the score of the game's going and that type of stuff, they'll heat it up a little bit more. But for the most part, they pretty much play very solid, coverage and all the time, and pretty good tacklers.
Okay. When you look at their defense, do you see any vulnerabilities, and if so?
Well, I think they're pretty solid. I mean, they're, in 4 games, I'm just happy to play a Big Sky team. I mean, I'm it's been so up and down. You play the 1A teams, and then you play D2 teams, and, you're all over the map. But now we get to play a Big Sky team, and I think this will be a good test. I think it's a good challenge for us. They've given up, about 130 a game on the ground, which is best in the conference, and so we got a good challenge with that. We want to meet that, and so I just think it's more about us playing more than about Sac State at this point, because we haven't seen them play this level. For the Big Sky Conference, I mean, everyone's playing big schools and small schools, those first 4 weeks just to try to get a bearing on how good you might be, and where you're at. So I think, it'll be a good test, especially here, and it's good to be here at home in Holt Arena.
But they have played Weber State, even
Yeah.
though it's not a conference game. What did you get out of it?
Correct. Yeah, I thought it was pretty close. I mean, they jumped out on Weber pretty well. I mean, they were up 20-0, and then Weber kind of stormed back at them, and then they kind of cruised at the end. So, but and Weber's improved from last year as well. But I think it's going to be similar. It's similar that we're seeing from most of the teams from last year. So I just think it comes down to us executing. We talk way more about that than the defense.
Your receivers versus their secondary, are they zone, man-to-man, cover one? How do they like to defend the pass?
A little bit of everything. They'll play some man, they'll play some quarters, and then they'll play some zone pressure. So they mix it up quite a bit, but that'll be a good challenge for us. I mean, our receiving core has really come along here this season, and I think they're playing pretty solid, and they're just excited to get back on the field. I feel like, our guys, I think they would rather play like today or tomorrow. I mean, they just the bye week came so soon that they'd like to get back on the field and just get playing.
Defensively, there was some unavailability, but offensively, you guys, I think, again, shot around for 3 quarters at least. You played pretty well, so I'm assuming you guys felt like you were in a good rhythm.
Yeah.
Was the buy-in? How do you avoid stagnation in that week off?
We don't talk about it. We just go out there and practice, and we push our guys, and they've done a pretty good job. We're a lot more mature now to handle that type of stuff, where we don't have to talk them into anything. They understand what's at stake. They've done a good job of doing everything that we ask them to do, but they understand, you know, the nature of the bye. You know, we talk to them about how we want to get better. We still want to make improvements because you're either getting better or you're getting worse, which is it? We want to still make steady improvement. So I thought we did that over the bye week, and then we just want to stay in shape and get prepared, you know, to play in the Big Sky Conference.
For improvements specifically, were we able to work out a backup quarterback, James? Did he get more time on the field with the first teamers in case you're in another situation?
He didn't get any more time than we normally do. I mean, we give 3 guys reps throughout the week, and they get quite a few because the way that we practice so fast with our tempo, we're able to do a ton of reps, you know, daily. So those guys get a ton of reps, and I'm not concerned with those guys. Those guys they're good, and when they get called upon, they're ready to go, and you know they know they're one snap away from being the guy, and that's how they approach it. They have to approach it like, you know, they're going to start the game, but they're you know, they're just waiting their turn. They're biting at the bit to get on the field, and you know, with James, you know, 2 weeks ago, I mean, we didn't not throw just because James can't throw. We wanted to control the ball and be on the field last. That was our decision to do that. And we told James that on the phone before I put him in. I said, we're going to shove this in 4-wheel drive, and that's just how it's going to be. So it had nothing to do with his ability or he can't throw or anything like that.
Anything else for Coach Bailey?
Can you talk real quick about when you're game planning, how much it's just going with what you perceive to be your strengths versus attacking a specific point of weakness that you might see in your opponent's defense?
Yeah, I mean, we always want to play to our strengths. I mean, that's a big thing, and we talk about how we want to do or be who we are, and I think that's a big thing in terms of that. But yeah, we're always looking for matchups, and that's always a big deal in terms of the spread because it's one-on-one all over the field. So we're always looking for matchups that way, and that's usually, you know, that's usually the starting point. It's more of a personnel meeting in terms of that as opposed to game plan.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, all right, thanks guys.
Thank you.